Welcome to Clocking In, Voices of NC Manufacturing. I'm your host, Phil Mintz, Director of the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, otherwise known as NCMEP. My role is to drive outreach to NC manufacturers, build relationships to federal and state leaders, and coordinate efforts to drive profitable manufacturing growth in North Carolina. Throughout my time working closely with manufacturers, I have heard the most quirky, curious, and memorable stories. I wanted to turn these stories into a podcast so that others may hear and be informed and inspired. From humble beginnings to manufacturing titans, from tragedy to triumph. I will be interviewing some of these manufacturers who have made North Carolina manufacturing the powerhouse that it is today. Have you ever wondered about the origins of the humble brick? As one of the oldest building materials in the world, bricks have a rich and fascinating history that spans thousands of years. From ancient civilizations to modern architecture, bricks have shaped and built our environment over the years. It just so happens with North Carolina roots dating back to 1959, Triangle Brick is one of the country's most highly automated brick manufacturers and has plants in Wadesboro and Moncure, North Carolina, and Clay County, Texas. In addition, their plants feature some of the world's highest capacity industrial robots for their entire process from end to end. So today we're talking with Christy Maselli, the Director of Human Resources at Triangle Brick. Maselli has more than 15 years of experience in human resources, including employee relations, talent acquisition, succession planning, and organizational development. And she also maybe knows a little bit about bricks. So how are you doing, Tracy?
I'm good. Thank you for that warm introduction.
So it's always fascinating about things like this we've been making for year after year, and we just kind of take it for granted. You know, why do people care about bricks so much?
Brick is one of those building materials that will never go out of style. It's prestigious in a lot of ways. It's functional. It's friendly from a maintenance capacity. It can be painted. It can be textured. So there's so many different things we can do with it, but it adds a level of prestige that so many people see brick and immediately think that's what I want.
So nobody hardly ever really knows where bricks come from, I guess. We just think that we just go and get them at the hardware store or whatnot. But it's amazing that we do have brick factories. A couple of them looks like here in the state. So talk about Triangle Brick and how it kind of got going here and still thriving.
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the most interesting thing is the Moncure site, which is the closest to the one we're at today, was built in 1999, and at that time was the most automated brick plant in the United States. Obviously, more have been built over the years, but our automation has continued to improve over the years. So when you think about a brick plant, it's not employees picking up bricks with their bare hands and moving them to the next process. It's very robotic, very automated, and it sets a foundation for what people want to do in the future. And it just does it faster, more efficiently, and we can add size variety, color variety, texture variety, things we couldn't do back in 1999.
So we're just not shaping mud and sand anymore?
Well, funny enough, my background is primarily mining in human resources, and so I just naturally assumed joining Triangle Brick that rectangular objects came out of the ground. And it turns out we start the process in mining, and we mine the clay out of the ground in our own backyard at our plants. And so we strategically place our plants where the clay is the best suited for the brick. And then it goes through a whole process, including the manufacturing side. It gets cooked, basically. We're brick bakers, if you want to call us that, cooked in a kiln for a couple of days. And then when it comes out of the kiln, after it's cooled, it goes to packaging, where we then package our brick up and ship it to our customers. So it is a very, very amazing process, and again, highly automated now.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of excitement around that. And again, you mentioned that you have a background in mining. Mm-hmm. Talk about your journey to Triangle Brick. You didn't start out here. How did you get here?
Absolutely. So born and raised native in Arizona, actually. So that's where my non-North Carolina accent comes from. I moved out to North Carolina 4 years ago and joined a aggregate mining company for a couple of years. Really loved the mining industry, the people, just the family feel to the mining industry. Even though it's a huge industry, it's a small industry, if that makes sense. I spent the last year in Tennessee at an underground zinc operation, and decided after a year I missed North Carolina. Even though I'm from Arizona, North Carolina is home to me now. So I came back and thought, where can I go that's a little bit different for the second half of my career? And that's where Triangle Brick came into play. I lived down the street and drove by our Durham corporate office probably 100 times. I never knew at the time that I'd ever work here. And we have great people that I went through the interview process with, and I fell in love with the company. So even though I've only been there for 5 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just joined in June.
Well, you sound like you've been there forever. You just like digging in the dirt, I guess.
I do. It's like we never had to grow up. Our sandbox just got bigger.
So how many people work at a brick factory, and what kind of recruiting do you have to do?
Absolutely. So right now we have 308 employees between our North Carolina facilities and our Texas facility. Typically the sites are somewhere between 60 and 80 employees. What we primarily recruit for right now is those manufacturing, many times entry-level manufacturing positions. My theory, and I know a lot of our managers agree with me, is that we hire for the attitude and train for the skill. We're not looking for people who have been in brick industries for years, because they're not out there, and if they are, they're happily employed somewhere. We're looking for entry-level folks who have a desire to want a career. Most of our employees have a very long tenure with the organization. We have someone that just celebrated 60 years, I believe.
60 years making bricks?
Makes me think that he started when he was 8.
Yeah.
But we have a whole feature on him on our website,
Wow.
actually. But people come for a job and stay for a career with us. It's one of the great benefits of being at a privately held company is that we do things our way, we do things right, we do things safely, but we do things because we care about our family.
Well, we had a big recruiting event today for a manufacturing day, and I saw the kids kind of lining up at your table. What are you telling them about working at a brick factory?
Here's what I tell, and I've been in mining for a long time, so my opinion and my statement have not changed. We need more people in the trades. Trades can be perceived as a dying art right now. So masonry, plumbing, maintenance, brick making, mining, all of those industries need people. Many times students are encouraged to go to college, and I have a sophomore at App State right now, and so I'm very proud of him being in college. Had he said, I want to go into a trade, I would have 150% supported him in that area too. I want students to know that college isn't the only avenue, and that many times if you come and work for a company like Triangle Brick, you can still go to college, sometimes on nights, sometimes on weekends, and as you continue your education, you can move up in the organization. But you don't need an education to move up in our organization. We'll train you, and we'll make you the best brickmaker you can be.
Wow, I'm ready. Tell me when I start.
I'll hire you tomorrow.
So, we talked about workforce, and which is a challenge with everybody. But I guess the other bigger challenge in manufacturing is supply chain. I guess with you, you just need some sand and heat. Is it really sophisticated materials that you have to find to make brick, or do you just kind of process things yourself?
So I won't say sophisticated as much as specific is probably the right word. It has to be the right clay to go into the brick. We do add different things to the brick to make it what we need our customers to have. But it's really more about the building materials themselves haven't changed over the years. The processes have just become more automated. But when you look at how we made brick, 40, 50 years ago, the difference is just the technology and the automation.
Yeah, so speaking of the automation, what would I see if I went there? Would I see a lot of robots or conveyors? What happens there?
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. It's all very machine operated now. Most of our employees basically run the machinery. But what's really neat is when it gets down to the packaging part, because it is, like you said, robotic hands that are picking up pallets, or not pallets, but groupings of bricks and moving them to strapping and getting them ready for shipment. We put several of those cubes, if you'll call them. Cubes are either 410 or 510 bricks in a cube, and we'll put those on a truck or on rail, depending on how we ship them.
Yeah, those are some pretty expensive cubes there too, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So, what's the future of the bricking industry? What do people want with their bricks? Is it any kind of new desires with bricks that you guys are working on?
So there's always unique requests that come in. I think the key really is we have our bread and butter bricks that we sell that haven't changed a whole lot over the years. But as new architectural ideas come into play, there's always some unique request that comes in. And we are a service organization, so we will do what we can to build what we can for our customers. If we can't do it, we'll tell them we can't do it, but we'll offer an alternative that's very close.
Yeah. So I've been speaking with Christy Maselli. She's the Director of Human Resources at Triangle Brick. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate yours.
Yeah. Good luck with your recruiting.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining today's Clocking In, Voices of NC Manufacturing. This podcast is brought to you by NC State's College of Engineering, the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, and Industry Expansion Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about the solutions NCMEP offers, go to www.ncmep.org. Want to listen to previous Clocking In podcasts? Go to ncmep.org/clockingin.